It all started with one question that turned into a worldwide anthem. How you gonna act like that? Tyrese Gibson sang those words back in 2002, and they became the sound of every broken heart, every failed relationship, every "I gave you everything" moment. But years later, life threw the same question right back at him. Not from a woman, not from a song, but from the entire world. Because on September 22nd, 2025, the man who once sang about loyalty found himself standing in the middle of a police raid with flashing lights outside his Los Angeles mansion and his 80-year-old grandmother being taken into custody beside him. You won't believe how fast life can turn when destiny takes an unexpected turn. It was a regular morning, quiet, calm, until the sound of boots and shouting officers broke that peace. Body cameras were rolling, dogs were barking, and Tyrese's name was being shouted like a crime suspect. The police claimed they were investigating reports about his Cane Corso dogs being involved in a violent incident. But here's the shocking part. Standing right there in the middle of it all was his grandmother, the woman who had raised him when his parents couldn't, confused and terrified as officers led her away for questioning. This was the same woman who had been his real ride or die long before fame, before the money, before Hollywood. The same woman who had protected him from the chaos of what's now stood surrounded by chaos again. Only this time, it was her grandson's world falling apart. But this is where it gets interesting. While the internet exploded with memes and jokes calling it Tyrese's downfall, no one was talking about how he got here. The world saw headlines, but they didn't see the story behind them. They didn't see the boy from one of Los Angeles's toughest neighborhoods who climbed his way to fame with nothing but a voice and a dream. They didn't see the man who fought the music industry just to keep real singing alive. Let me tell you, the raid was just one part of a much bigger story. Long before the fame, long before anyone called him Roman Pierce from Fast and Furious or Jody from Baby Boy, Tyrese was just a kid trying to survive. Born December 30th, 1978, in Watts, he grew up surrounded by addiction. His mother battled alcoholism for nearly 27 years. His father was lost to drugs and alcohol, too. The world didn't give him a chance. But destiny had other plans because when his parents couldn't stand, his grandmother stepped up. She became his mother, his protector, his safe place. She made sure he got to school, kept him away from the streets, and taught him what strength looked like when everything else fell apart. Every night when the noise outside got too loud, she would turn on the radio. The sound of Marvin Gaye, Stevie Wonder, Donny Hathaway, and Teddy Pendergrass filled the small house. Those songs were more than music, they were medicine. His mother, still battling addiction, would sit in the corner drinking. But even through her pain, the music played on. That sound, that soul, that emotion, it all soaked into Tyrese's heart. That was his real education. What makes this story different is that R&B didn't just influence him, it raised him. It became his escape, his therapy, his destiny. Then one day, everything changed. A young Tyrese discovered he had a voice. Not just any voice, but one that carried pain and power at the same time. The kind that made people stop and listen. The kind that came from struggle, not studio tricks. When he was 19, he got a chance to sing in a Coca-Cola commercial. One moment, one opportunity, and destiny took another unexpected turn. That commercial changed everything. Soon after, he signed a deal and released his debut single Sweet Lady in 1998, and the world instantly noticed. That voice, smooth, emotional, pure, hit radio stations everywhere. You won't believe how fast he went from the streets of Watts to Billboard's top charts. Women adored him. Men respected him. R&B had found its new voice. But here's the craziest part. Fame didn't fix his pain. Even as a Sweet Lady became a hit, Tyrese never forgot where he came from. He still visited his grandmother, still looked out for her, still reminded people that she was his reason for making it. And when he released How You Gonna Act Like That in 2002, it wasn't just a breakup song. It was his way of asking the world how people could change so fast, how loyalty could disappear overnight. That song wasn't just about relationships. It was about everything he'd seen growing up, the people who promised love and left, the family that broke, the friends that switched sides when fame came. But destiny wasn't done twisting his story. Because just when everything seemed perfect, the music, the fame, the success, Tyrese started to notice something dark behind the spotlight. The music industry he loved wasn't the same anymore. Tyrese had tasted fame, but fame came with a price no one warned him about. The spotlight that once felt warm now burned. Everywhere he went, people wanted the star, not the man. The record labels wanted hits that could trend, not songs that could heal. But Tyrese wasn't built for shortcuts. He came from the kind of pain that made him chase honesty, not algorithms. Let me tell you, this is how the fight for real R&B began. Quietly, behind the cameras, when no one was paying attention. By 2013, Tyrese had already proven himself. He had platinum albums, hit singles, and blockbuster movies under his belt. But the music world was changing faster than anyone could keep up. The radio wasn't playing real singers anymore, only auto-tuned voices with catchy hooks. That's when Tyrese did something bold, something no one expected. He joined forces with two other R&B legends, Tank and Genuine. Together, they created a supergroup called TGT, a trio that promised to bring back the soul in soul music. You won't believe the amount of excitement when fans heard about it. Real voices, real emotion, real music. It sounded like the rebirth of an entire genre. When their album Three Kings dropped, it was everything R&B fans had been craving. Smooth harmonies, raw emotion, pure passion. But here's the shocking part. The industry didn't care. The same record labels that had once begged Tyrese for love songs suddenly looked away. The same radio stations that played Sweet Lady nonstop now ignored Three Kings. It was as if real singing had become invisible. Tyrese later said, "We gave them real music, and they turned their backs on it." The project that was supposed to save R&B became another painful reminder that the world had changed. After that, things got dark. For over 2 years, from 2022 to 2024, Tyrese had no record deal at all. No label wanted to sign him. Not because his voice had faded. It was still flawless, still powerful, but because his TikTok numbers weren't high enough. Yes, you heard that right. The same man who gave the world Sweet Lady and How You Gonna Act Like That couldn't get a deal because he wasn't viral. Let that sink in. He said it himself in interviews. "I'm not here to chase TikTok fame. I'm here to make grown music." But the industry didn't care about grown music anymore. They wanted trends, short clips, and filters. That's when Tyrese started speaking out, calling out the record labels, the executives, and the system. You won't believe how brutally honest he became. He told them, "I'm making music for adults, people who've lived, loved, and lost. If you're 16 and making TikToks at my concert, security's removing you." He wasn't joking. Tyrese wanted his art to mean something again.